Hey guys, welcome back to the shop. I'm just getting the fire ready here. We're going to make a small little axe pendant. It's a trade axe pendant that I make. This is my template that I use, just a piece of sheet metal, which gives me the profile, as well as this piece here, which I end up wrapping around back on itself to create the eye of the axe. And it's a pendant that you can hang around your neck. It ends up being maybe 1.5 inches long when it's done, and I stamp it with a sort of traditional stamp. You can kind of see it there. It's like a double cross, and yeah, I make mine out of 1/2-inch W1 tool steel, and the reason I do that is that not only is it a pendant, but then because I heat treated it, doubles as a fire starter. So yeah, hopefully you find this video interesting. And I did do an earlier video showing me using one of these fire starters. So if you scroll back through my older videos, you will find it lighting a fire with a tiny axe. And yeah, you can see that it has an alternate use, not just a pendant, but also in a survival situation, I suppose, or even just a situation where you want to test your skills. Light a fire with flint and steel, and yeah, go from there. If you guys have any questions, comments, suggestions, feel free to put them in the comment section below, and that goes for future video ideas as well. All right, let's get to it. 1/2-inch round stock, just round bar, W1 tool steel. This is ground steel. I get this from McMaster Car. Again, great for fire steels. High carbon content, water hardening. Don't temper, just water harden it, and you're done. Sometimes you have to grind away a little bit of the decarb, which happens more if you're using a gas forge than if you're using the coal forge, I find. And yeah, just again, there's some more information on flint strikers on another video I did on a flint striker. So if you go back, you'll find that one as well. Anyways, let's get started. All right, cross feed hammer, and we're just going to flare out. Not quite, we're getting there though. One more heat. To get the width of blade that you're after, then we want to flatten the back edge. Like that. Take out any fuller marks. So there we are. And there'll be a little bit of filing to be done afterwards. But now what we need to do is we need to put a set down in here, so that when we wrap the eye around, there's somewhere for the end, for this end, to wrap around and sit flush with it. And I don't know if you can see that there. My anvil's got an 1.25 inch hardy hole, which is perfect. I keep it square to the hardy hole and touching the far side, and then I just set it down and establish my distance using that as my gauge. That way every one of these that I make is essentially the same. See, I've set that down. I'm going to go a little further, but we need a little bit more heat. Here's the stamp I use to get the double cross, and it's just made of a piece of coil spring, and I've cut the cross details in with the cutoff wheel on an angle grinder, and yeah, it's holding up really well. I've made a ton of these pendants now, and never had to redress the punch really. So something simple you can make yourself. You can do your own design. Sometimes you could do like a star, or yeah, up to you, up to your imagination. So now what we're going to do, we're going to cut this off, and then we'll use tongs to hold it, and then we're going to draw out and shape this eye section just into a long bar section that matches the length of my template, like so. And this bottom undercut detail, we'll do that with the file or the grinder afterwards. Cut chisel, we'll do it over here on the cutting table. That's what this is intended for. The cutting table and the anvil is generally softer than the face of the anvil is tool steel, and the cutting table is just wrought iron. So you can either do that, or sometimes, depending on what I'm working on, it's easier to use a piece of mild steel. So it just fits in the hardy hole, and you can see that it's got plenty of cut marks in it. So yeah, actually we'll use this today because you can see it better. And no sense marking up the cutting table when it's in such good shape. I cut it about 90% of the way there, mostly because I don't want it flying across the shop red hot. But once you get to that point, it's pretty easy to break it off. And then I just stress the end of that up just a little bit, and then put it aside somewhere safe to cool, ready for the next pendant project. So there we are, cut off, a little bit extra material there. We'll draw that out. So technically we didn't need the cutting plate there because we didn't cut through it. But you never know, could be an errant blow and end up leaving a nasty mark on the top of your anvil, and then that ends up in every piece of work you work on until you either dress it out or it, yeah. Better to be careful. Okay, there we go. Just using the corner die of the anvil as a bit of a fuller. Pushing material away. basically cutting it into sections with that corner. Not learning my lesson, I just left this close to the fire again. This is what happened to my last one. So yeah, I think I better build a little something to put this on right next to my anvil. Getting there. We're a little longer than we need to be, which is fine. We're going to dress it off anyways. I do want to thin it just a little bit here. Pretty much where we want to be, halfway. And now I am going to stamp it. All right, I want to be pretty quick with this. The anvil pulls the heat out of that. And another thing to be careful of. That you get a pretty crisp stamp. There we go. I'm going to go in and warm that up one more time. A little deeper on one side than the other. Where it can be a little bit tricky to line it back up into your previous stamp mark. There we go. Nice crisp deep stamp. What we'll do now is let it cool off, and then I'm going to shape this. I'll do that off camera. Nothing really fancy about it. You can file it, you can grind it, you can yeah, file it or grind it, I guess. And depends on the equipment you have and how much time you want to spend. You can leave it the way it is too. It looks fine. But basically we're going to extend that bottom line back behind the stamp and get the undercut chisel detail that would be on a trade axe or a Biscayne axe. And then knock the corners off of everything here before we wrap the eye. And I've got a mandrel that I use to wrap the eye around. Basically sits in there like that, and you know, it's no different than the mandrel I use when I make a full-size axe, really, just much smaller. Okay, so we're back, filed this detail in, knocked all these sharp corners off of here because this is where you're going to tie your lanyard or your I put it on a piece of leather actually. Yeah, we'll get it hot again, we'll wrap it around, and we'll form the eye. And then we'll heat treat, and we'll be done. All right, there we are. So just start by rolling it around, back on itself. Like so. That's that. One trade axe pendant. So now we're just going to get it heated above upper critical, quench it in water, and we'll do a quick little cleanup on the grinder when we're done, just to give the impression of a sharpened blade, but I do not sharpen the end of them. I just put a slight bevel on it so it looks like an axe. We'll just go give it a clean up on the grinder, and we'll be right back and show you how it works. All right, we are back. So one finished trade axe pendant. You can see I brightened up that edge, mostly the decarb process. Maybe not necessary, but I like to do it anyways. Now, as you can see, it throws some nice sparks, and this is just quartz. If you had a piece of flint, it's even better because it cuts, whereas the quartz tends to dull quickly. It's softer than flint. But quite an effective little fire starter, and put a lanyard through it like so. Tie it off. Need that up later. Trim the ends. Yeah. One trade axe pendant. Hope you guys enjoyed the video. If you have any questions, ask below. Suggestions, comments, like and subscribe, and we'll catch you on the next one. Goodbye.